Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a lap guide for Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps with the Dodge Viper Group 4. We're on the racing hard tires with BOP on and tuning disabled. Be aware that rain is a possibility for this race, so make sure you have the intermediate and wet tires purchased. That way you'll have them in case you need them. So let's go ahead and get started with the lap guide. Bring yourself towards the left side of the track, and your first braking point is the 100 meter board. So once you reach that, that's where you use full braking power, turning in well after the 50 meter board that is on the left. Make your way down to first gear for a bit more rotation, trying to go for a light apex. Then shift up to second gear as you make your way out of the first turn and carefully get on the throttle. For our Rouge Radeon, it is possible to take it flat out in the Viper. You're turning in when a curb on the left ends. So right around here, turn in, and you want to touch the curb that is on the right. And you can use the curves as they're still within track limits, and just try to go through our Rouge Radeon in as straight a line as possible to not scrub off too much speed. And you're going to stay on 5th gear as you go down the Camel Straight, but your next braking point is just as a curb on the left is about to start. Full braking power, making your way down to 2nd gear, turning in when the curb on the left ends and easing off of the brakes as you're turning in. So doing a little bit of trail braking, and you want to do a lot of throttle control, staying on the left side of the track. Shift up to 3rd gear. Do a little more throttle control, trying not to hit the bollards that are on the right, and you can take advantage of the curves as they are still within track limits. Then brake just before the curb on the left starts, full braking power, and you want to make your way down to 2nd gear. Try to stay as close as you can towards the right side of the track, and you can use just a little bit of throttle control to have the Viper whip around this turn and making your way towards the right for no name, braking pretty early for this turn, using around 50% braking power and turning in almost immediately. Try to avoid the bollards that are on the left and get on the throttle as soon as you can. For Puhan, you can brake as you reach the 50 meter board that is on the right. You brake hard for a short moment, so full braking power. Briefly go down to 3rd gear for a bit more rotation, then back up to 4th gear and carefully get on the throttle and try your best to not touch the grass that is on the left, as that will hurt your time a bit. But anyways, brake before you go under the Spa-Francorchamps sign that is just above you, so before the 50 meter board. So full braking power, turning in before the green area on the left starts, making your way down to 3rd gear, and do a lot of throttle control as you make your way through these series of turns. Eventually make your way towards the left side of the track, braking before the curb on the left starts. So full braking power for a short moment, going down to 2nd gear to have the car whip around this turn, back up to 3rd gear, get on the throttle as soon as you can, turn in before the curb on the left ends, and you can do a little courtesy lift to make sure that you don't understeer off of the track. So that little courtesy lift will help the car turn in a bit more. And it'll be a similar story as you go through Blanchimont, which is this left turn that is right over here. Turning in when you reach these tire marks that are on the right. And again, little courtesy lift. How much of the throttle you need to lift off will depend on the car that you're using and the situation that you're in. But anyways, your final braking point is the 150 meter board, full braking power. You can go down to 1st gear for a bit more rotation and 2nd gear as you accelerate a bit in between the chicane. But you do want to be careful with your throttle input, because this is where the Viper gets really twitchy. It's really twitchy in the lower speed corner, so you do need to be a little careful with your throttle input to make sure that the car doesn't spin out. But there we go, getting it to 28.9. Took me a while to get to this lap time, but let's go ahead and go through this again, but this time I will not stop the video. So here we are in the Viper Group 4 with BOP on, tuning disabled, and we're on the racing hard tires. For turn number 1, looking for the 100 meter board, as that's my first braking point. And especially with how the Viper behaves in the lower speed corners, I try to get the Viper to point towards where I want to go next. That way I can straighten up the steering wheel and then get on the throttle as soon as I can, because if I get on the throttle and I'm still turning, then I do risk spinning out. Going through Eau Rouge and Radion flat out, it is possible to do that in this car, but in the race you might need to do a little courtesy lift to make sure that your car can turn in a bit more and avoid understeering off of the track. Staying on 5th gear as I go down the Kimmel straight, brake when the curb on the left is just about to start, going down to 2nd gear and just do a little bit of throttle control. Do be careful with the throttle input, as it's a bit of a lower speed corner, so the Viper can spin out if you're a bit too harsh on the throttle. Braking when the curb on the left is just about to start, and this is where you can actually use that little bit of the oversteering nature of the Viper to force the car to whip around a turn. And for no name, you do need to brake early and just try to maintain as much momentum as possible. For Puhan, briefly go down to 3rd gear for a bit more rotation, but do try not to get onto the grass, as that can hurt your time a bit, as you see me do that. But anyways, brake before you go under the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps sign. Just trying to maintain your momentum and just doing a lot of throttle control, letting the car turn in a bit more, so just being a bit patient with your throttle. Brake before the curb on the left starts, and kind of going for a bit of a late apex, that way you can get on the throttle as soon as the car is pointing where you want to go. Little courtesy lift over here to make sure that the car doesn't understeer off of the track. It is possible to take that turn flat out, but you have to be precise with your turn in. But anyways, for Blanchimont, hopefully I'm saying that name right. For Blanchimont, you want to do a little lifting off of throttle to make sure that you don't understeer off the track and get dirty tires. Then brake at the 150 meter board and just be really careful with your throttle input. 1st gear for a bit more rotation, and 2nd gear for a bit more control of the car. And you see me almost spin it right there. And there we go, so getting it to 28.9, and that's it for the lap, guys. So I know I probably sound a little weird, that's because I'm still sick, but yeah. Do take care, everyone. Have a good week. This is Mr. Messier, and I'll see you in the next video.